A shadow is one of the most important things about adding a new subject into a scene, and with the techniques I'll show you here, it's going to be really easy to add these shadows into any of your photos. Rather than using complicated selections and fill layers and things like that, we can use the help of layer styles to quickly create our first part of the shadow, which is a black solid colored shape of our subject. With the help of layer styles, we can do just that with a drop shadow. So accessing layer styles by double clicking on the person layer in my particular project, and then I'll go to drop shadow, make sure to click on that setting. And I want all of these values to be at 0. So we basically are creating a hard edge, perfect copy of our subject in the black color as you see here. Make sure your opacity is at 100% and we'll click OK. Beneath that layer now we have a layer style, and we want to be able to edit this layer style separate from our subject. So we're going to convert it into a layer by right clicking on the effects words and going down here to create layer. Just click OK in the warning that appears, and now we have a brand new exact copy of our subject, but as a black shape. This is now the shadow that we're going to use and distort to blend into this new image. Now, when we're creating a shadow, as we all obviously know, shadows go in the opposite direction of the light. In this photo, we have lots of existing shadows for reference, so it's pretty easy to know where the light is coming from, and that is the angle that we'll be trying to match with our shadow layer. So clicking on the person's drop shadow layer in my particular project, which is the one that we just created from layer styles, I'll press Command or Control T to activate free transform. Now we want to move our shadow to fit along the ground. And a really easy way to do that is by holding Command or Control, clicking on this topmost middle anchor point of our transform box, and while holding Command or Control, just click and drag down and over in the direction that we want to apply our shadow. This will distort that shadow, and you can stretch it out as you would like. I'll zoom out a little bit, hold Command or Control, click in that middle anchor point, and we can change the angle and things like that. Now, since my subject's feet are staggered, of course, the shadow needs to touch both of his feet, so I'm going to stretch it out a little bit more. To stretch the shadow, I'll hold the Shift key, click on this bottom middle anchor point, and click and drag out like so to stretch the shadow in that direction. And we can reposition it over like so. The shadow doesn't need to look perfect right now, but the goal is to get it as close as possible before we have to do any warping adjustments. Depending on the positioning of your subject, you might be good to go at this point in the project, so you can skip ahead to a later timestamp in the video, but if you're like me and your shadow is still not quite touching the subject's feet properly, then in that case we need to do some warping adjustments. While still in free transform, I haven't committed to any changes yet. I'm going to right click within that transform box and go to warp. And on the warp grid, we want to basically extend the one leg that is not touching our subject's foot. And to make this easier, we need to see more of a grid pattern. So in the grid options, we'll make sure we have the 5x5 grid enabled. Now looking back at the warp preview, we basically want to select all of the anchor points related to our subject's leg. A really simple way to do that is holding the Shift key, and while holding Shift, we can click and drag out to create a box around all of the anchor points that we want to target. I'll let go around here, and now I can click and drag to move all of those anchor points together to reach and connect to my subject's foot in this case. Now we have some other areas that need to be extended as well. So I'll click on this single anchor point and move it way over here, and then move some of these other anchor points as well to refine the rest of this shadow here. You can play around with these as you would like, but I'm going to leave it there. As for the other shadow on his left foot, I'm going to do some warping adjustments here as well. Again, you could hold the Shift key to select multiple anchor points, or you can click on them individually to refine the result. In this particular case, I'm going to need to do some extra brushing adjustments because the shadow looks a little bit weird size-wise coming off the edge of his toe. It shouldn't be so skinny here. So I'm just making this line up the best I can, and we're going to do some brush adjustments in just a second. Once you're happy with your warping adjustments, we can confirm our changes by pressing Done in the contextual taskbar. And this will now place that shadow for us. Now I want to add a little bit of brush adjustments to the outside edge of this shadow and remove some of the areas that I do not want to see, such as this bit here. So I'll grab my brush tool first by pressing B. And then in this case, since I have a hard-edged shadow, I'll set my brush hardness to around 90%. And then I want to have the black color of the shadow, which is set to my foreground color. With the person drop shadow layer selected in my particular project, I'm just going to click and paint over the areas I want to add that shadow into. So for this example, I want more of a straight shadow coming off of this left leg. And on the other part of the shadow, I just want to remove some of the folds that look a little bit too dramatic in my opinion. As for any areas that you do not want, we can simply use the eraser tool by pressing E, and I'll set my eraser to also have a high hardness value. And I'll just paint around any areas I do not want to be in my shadow. Now at this point, I'm happy with the positioning of my shadow. If you would like to update yours further, you can reactivate the free transform adjustment by pressing Command or Control T. But once you're done, we can add some blurring adjustments, because if we look at all of the other shadows in our photo, they gradually become more and more blurry as they get more far away from our subject. Because of that, we want to add different blur values depending on how close our shadow is to the subject's body. So that is where field blurs come into play. Clicking on your shadow layer, we'll go up to Filter, Blur Gallery, and then down here to Field Blur. In the window that appears, we'll have a little circular disc that we can click and drag down to the shadow that we want to edit. And if we click and hold on that white circular section here, we can increase or decrease the blur within that area. For this example, I'll set my blur to 10 for out in the body. And then I'll add another blur by clicking at his toe here and bring this down to say about 2. And I'll do the same over here, clicking to add another blur point, dragging that over so the blur amount is 2. So in this case, because my shadow is relatively close to my subject, it's not extending a crazy long ways, it's going to be relatively sharp for the entire shadow. With your shadow blurs complete, we'll click OK to go back into the main Photoshop workspace. And the final thing we need to do is make part of our shadow less visible as it continues out into our photo, because it's going to be most dark by our subject and it's going to be less dark as it extends away from them. With the help of a layer mask and a gradient, we can do this super easily. Clicking on the person drop shadow layer, I'll add a layer mask, and then I'll grab my gradient tool by pressing G. I'll use the classic gradient mode, and then I'll choose the foreground to transparent gradient within the basics folder, and I'm going to use a linear gradient in this case, and make sure transparency is enabled. For the opacity, I'm going to make sure that this is a low value. So of course, the lower your gradient opacity, the less intense your removal adjustment will be of your shadow. So for this case, I'll choose somewhere between 30 and 50%, and then make sure that my foreground color is set to black. So that way we'll be removing visibility from our person's drop shadow layer mask. Clicking on that layer mask to make sure that it is selected, we can now click and drag out on our shadow, and you can just click and drag out multiple times if you would like to continue to add to that shadow removal adjustment. Now we're nearly complete in this process, but after you do these adjustments, you might think that the shadow color looks a little bit weird in relation to the other shadows that exist in your photo. Well, once you've done all of this work, you can easily change your shadow's color while keeping all of the settings that you've just made by converting your shadow layer into a smart object. So for example, I want to change the current shadow color to match more of this brown shadow. So I'll just right click on the drop shadow layer and go to convert to smart object to consolidate everything into one smart object. And now I can double click on that smart object to access layer styles. And within the color overlay setting, we can click on our color swatch and then simply sample an existing color in our photo of another shadow. Now clicking OK, we have a matching color tone, so it blends a little bit better into our photo. I'll click OK, and now our result is complete. So here is our before and our after. Now, I think I could have done a better job with the upper part of his body looking a little bit more in line with his legs after the warping adjustment, but regardless of those little things, these techniques that you learned here will work really well for creating realistic drop shadows in Photoshop.